Okay, so I'm here with a review of Annabelle, and it was better than I expected. I'll say that. It's been a surprising week of movies. I went into The Equalizer not really knowing what to expect, went to Annabelle expecting it to be terrible, and it wasn't as good as The Conjuring. Not by far. It wasn't even as good as Insidious Part 2, but it was better. Actually, no, it was better than Insidious Chapter 2. It was fairly decent. It didn't rise above I don't know, common horror movie, but it was still pretty good. It didn't do anything to surprise me, but I wasn't watching it being like, God damn it, get me the hell out of here. This movie's really stupid. If you've seen the trailers, you more or less know the story. It's basically the explanation behind the Annabelle doll, why it's evil and the people it was with beforehand. Basically, yeah, it's a demon. It's a demon, and the cultist that sacrificed her, that killed herself, is partly inhabiting the doll too, or she died to summon the demon. It's not really clear on the specifics of it, but the cultist is there too in this movie. But yeah, it's your basic horror movie. It didn't have a lot of jump scares, which surprised me because I expected it to have a lot of jump scares because James Wan is a master of atmosphere. This movie had decent atmosphere. It wasn't James Wan by any comparison, but it wasn't as crappy and lacking atmosphere and just boop jump scares as I thought it was going to be. There's, I think, 2 or 3, I think, and the rest, one of them came without a music cue, so it didn't really count, and 1 or 2 times the music was just playing when nothing was going on, but it was actually, like I said, it wasn't that bad. My biggest gripe with this movie is you more or less know how shit's gonna end. It just couldn't be The Conjuring just because what made The Conjuring was its setting, its characters, the Warrens, and the soundtrack. This movie basically has none of that, but it still manages to eke its way by. The soundtrack, there's like one song from, I think, the 70s when it takes place. The wife character in this is pretty good. Like, the husband, for the time he's on screen, I wish he was more of a character in this. Instead, the plot conveniently writes him out of the film for most of it. Like, he's only there to, like, just deliver stereotypical husband lines like, oh, honey, it must be such and such. It can't be ghosts. And so he's not in it that much. And then the other character is this, African-American woman who's, like, really knows her shit about ghosts. And it would have been interesting to see a story about her, in all honesty, but she's only written in this film so she can sacrifice herself at the end of the movie to save the shitty family in this. It's really not stupid, but weird. There's one scene that still kind of has me wondering. There's the scene where she's talking to these 2 children in the apartment that she's living in like the later half of the film, and she's trying to talk to the little girl, but the boy's like, don't talk to her, she's a stranger. And she's like, and the woman's like, oh, that's very smart advice, and they're drawing and she goes on her way, and the ghost uses the children's drawings as like a thing to intimidate her and scare her with. But it doesn't say if the children were real or if they were ghosts too. That kind of bothered me. Seriously, the body count in this movie is extremely low. I wasn't expecting it to have a high body count, but I was expecting it to be a little bit more suspenseful. You knew they weren't going to kill the kid. I'm sorry, but no horror film anymore has the balls to show a fucking child die. No, they don't anymore. So you knew the kid wasn't going to die. You maybe the wife was gonna die at one point. You weren't really sure, but then the African-American lady, she's just like, oh, I'll jump out the window instead so you can live with your husband and be happy. And basically the reason why one of them had to kill themselves was because the demon decided to kidnap the baby and, like, make it disappear. When, like, it was right in the crib in front of them, and the demon wasn't really playing fair, which kind of sounded like it was going against the rules that the movie set up. Because the movie said the demon cannot kill anything. It can only take a soul of something that's offered to it. So, what I kind of thought the demon was going to do was make the woman think that the Annabelle doll was the baby, and, like, she's smashing the Annabelle doll, and, like, maybe they're not going to show the dead baby, but maybe she accidentally thought she killed the baby, jumps out the window, or something like that. Like, it fucks with the main character's mind or something. But no, it just plays a dirty trick where it's like, baby's in a hat, but you can't see it anymore until one of you jumps out the fucking window. So, it's not a bad movie. Like, the history behind the Annabelle doll, like the cult they talk about, is cool. And the fact that it's not until 20 minutes into the movie that they basically spoil the only twist they had going for it, was that you didn't know if the parents you were introduced to at the start of the film were the parents that the doll was named after. Because it opens up with the nurses saying, like, oh yeah, this doll was given to us, its name is Annabelle, it's belonged to this girl, both of her parents died. And I was thinking, like, oh, maybe this is going to be, maybe the parents are going to die, but the little girl is going to live. And, or something like that. Like, it's, the girl go off to an orphanage and, like, they just sell the Annabelle doll or something. No, like, 20 minutes into the movie, oh, Annabelle was the name of the cultist who killed herself, and that's why the doll is named Annabelle. So they kind of fucked up that thing that was going for them. Other than that, the thing that I thought was kind of cool about the movie, but still kind of lame, because basically not only does this movie have to live up to The Conjuring, it has to live up to Insidious Part 1. Because both of those are James Wan's horror movies that just break the boundaries of horror and punch you in the face with their intensity. And this movie basically just takes from both of them. Because it turns out the demon looks a lot like the one from Insidious. Instead, it's black and not red. Yeah, this movie has blackface demon. It's fucking hilarious the first time you see it. Some of the lines in this movie are kind of cheesy. I don't know, would I recommend seeing this in the theaters? If you're a horror fan and you like The Conjuring and you're interested in it, sure, just go in not expecting The Conjuring and you'll be satisfied. Like, you'll enjoy yourself. Like, the people I saw it with, they didn't hate it. They enjoyed the fact that there was, like, creepy dolls in it and stuff like that. I couldn't help but think of Child's Play when the cultist was killing herself, though. Like, because she locks herself in the bathroom with the Annabelle doll and, like, police are at the door. Like, they're gonna shoot her. I was just thinking, like, Adeu Dambala, give me the power, I beg of you. It just reminded me of Child's Play. But, no, it, like, halfway through, it's like, oh, this isn't a ghost of the cultist, even though we showed her, like, 5 or 6 times. This is a demon, and they never explained why the cultist was shown in the movie. Just maybe she's accompanying the demon. Maybe he's lonely and he needs some bitch to keep him company. I don't know. It's not like I said, I was expecting something bad, like something just unbearable to watch. I was pleasantly surprised. Go see this, in all honesty, go see this on a cheap night, on a Tuesday, when you got some friends with you who you enjoyed The Conjuring. If not, go see something else. Go see Gone Girl when it comes out, or Tusk. Because from what I've heard, Tusk is pretty good too. Closing comments. It's okay. One of the things that kind of made me laugh the the first 20 minutes was when the doll was, like, not being evil, but it was just being a dick. Like, it would turn on the sewing machine at night, or it would, like, just fuck with them, like, just making, like, weird random noises. But, like, it wasn't being violent, it was just being an asshole. Like, it would turn on the stove with, like, so the Jiffy Pop would blow up. Like, I guess the Jiffy Pop was when it crossed the line from being a dick to just being evil. But, like, the Annabelle doll would, like, fall down, so, like, you couldn't close the door. Like, just, like, really weird, inconvenient stuff. But then it started to get violent, like, pushing people, and the fucking priest gets San Andreas super punched into a car. It's just, when the movie tries to be, like, overly serious, sometimes it crosses into cheesy territory, and it just doesn't end well. Like, with the priest, like, they didn't really establish him as a character. To me, he just seemed like, he's a priest, he knows what he's doing, he's dealt with things, I guess. The only other character they kind of established was, like I said, the African-American girl, who, her daughter died, and she was told she has a reason for being on Earth, so she can't die just yet, and she has dealt with ghosts before, she said. Like, it would have been cool to see, like, a prequel to this movie with her and maybe the Warrens or something, and the Warrens were mentioned in the movie, but they were never shown. Like, my main problem with this movie is that it's referencing the better movie in its movie. Like, and that's a big no-no as far as I'm concerned. You never reference a better movie in your shitty movie. Like, if I'm watching Sharknado, I don't want to hear someone reference Jaws, unless it's, like, maybe in a satirical joke sort of way, but even then, that's crossing a fucking boundary. And, like, they mention The Conjuring on, like, 2 or 3 different occasions, and you're like, yeah, I could be watching that movie right now, it's so much fucking better than this. Or even the way they shoot the demon, it reminds me so much of Insidious, and I'm like, it's a better movie too than this. But the main girl in this, she was actually a pretty cool, like, heroine protagonist, except for the end, when she just, like, started, like, behaving irrationally. I understand her baby was in danger, blah, 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 but just, she was trying to take charge of this thing the entire time, like, no, we're not gonna let this thing, like, fuck us over, like, this thing's evil, it's gonna try playing games with us. And then she's, like, the first one to swallow the shit sandwich it offers at the end, where it's like, I want your baby soul, if not, jump out this fucking window, and I'll let your baby go. Like, just fucking annoying at the end there, but yeah, go see it on cheap night. Trailers, just a quick heads up on trailers. I didn't really get anything new. I got John Wick again, got Horrible Bosses 2 for some reason. The only new one I got was Jupiter Ascending, and I have no idea what that movie is about from the trailers. Sean Bean's in it, or whatever, the guy from Game of Thrones, the guy who always dies, so I'm assuming he's gonna die in this. Spoiler alert, he's gonna die in fucking Jupiter Ascending. Channing Tatum's in it, and Mia Kunis plays a space princess, I think, and her brother's out to kill her to take over Earth, or inherit Earth. I don't know, it could be good, it could be, like, really epic and awesome. But, if we get Gone Girl down here, I'll be posting a review of that, because I'm really anxious to see Gone Girl, because I want to see what David Fincher's excuse is for not giving us the girl who played with fire. So I'll be seeing that movie, and until then, I only think the movies that are on my list to go see for YouTube are John Wick, Nightcrawler, Interstellar, maybe Box Trolls, whatever catches my eye, and when American Horror Story comes out next week, I will be trying to do a weekly review of that, or at least buy or try weekly. So, see you guys next time.